Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjalašalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri-Yuta-Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we will continue with reading from Bhagavad-gītā as it is. From His Divine Graces Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, founder-ācārya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So, we are going to chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. In the beginning, after Arjuna surrendered to Krishna and asked for his guidance, so Krishna started to explain Sankhya, philosophy of the immutable spirit soul. What is the difference between the body and the soul? Then, as Arjuna was still not convinced, so he changed also, because by this he also defeated some of the arguments of Arjuna. Like in the first one, it was compassion. Then he proposed to Arjuna, okay, so then just do your duty, because you are Kshatriya, so you should do your Kshatriya duty, or karma-kāṇḍa, and this, by this he will also get his desired enjoyment. But now he's saying, okay, karma-kāṇḍa good, but naiṣkarmya is better, because consciousness is involved and you are moving up to the transcendental level. So this is what was discussed the last time. And in the last session we were speaking about how by this action or in Krishna consciousness, because consciousness is added to it, to our activities, to our duties. So by this also all our obligations to demigods, sages, forefathers are also included, like taken care of. Then how this consciousness itself is important, and our intention why we do our services. And also that if we do spiritual activities with this consciousness, then also our progress is saved in such an eternal account, and is not lost even if we leave the body. In the next life we can continue from the same level. Okay, so, and at the end it was mentioned that in order to do these activities properly, we have to approach someone who is experienced, and in particular it is spiritual master, and also by the mercy of spiritual master we can get the satisfaction of Krishna and his mercy. So by mercy of Guru we get Krishna. So today we'll continue with Shlokas 42 and 43. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadyan vipashchitaha vedavadaratah partha nanyadastiti vadinaha kamatmana svargapara janma karma phala pradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhoga ishvarya gatim prati. Yamimam, all these pushpitam, flowery vacham, words pravadanti, say avipaschitaha, men with a poor fund of knowledge. Veda vadarataha, supposed followers of the Vedas. Partha, or son of Pritha, now never anyat, anything else. Asti, there is. Iti, dus. Vadinaha, the advocates. Kama, atmanaha, desires of sense gratification. Svarga paraha, aiming to achieve heavenly planets. Janma, karma, phala pradam, resulting in good birth and other fruitive reactions. Kriya Vishesha, pompous ceremonies. Bahulam, various. Bhoga, in sense enjoyment. Aishvarya, and opulence. Gatim, progress. Prati, towards. Translation: men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they said that there is nothing more than this. Purport: people in general are not very intelligent, and due to their ignorance, they are most attached to the fruitive activities recommended in the karma-kāṇḍa portions of the Vedas. They do not want anything more than sense gratificatory proposals for enjoying life in heaven, where wine and women are available and material opulence is very common. In the Vedas, many sacrifices are recommended for elevation to the heavenly planets, especially the Jyotishtoma sacrifices. In fact, it is stated that anyone desiring elevation to heavenly planets must perform these sacrifices, and men with a poor fund of knowledge think that this is the whole purpose of Vedic wisdom. It is very difficult for such inexperienced persons to be situated in the determined action of Krishna consciousness. As fools are attached to the flowers of poisonous trees without knowing the results of such attractions, unenlightened men are similarly attracted by such heavenly opulence and the sense enjoyment thereof. So, yeah, a little difficulty with Vedas also when Vyasadeva wrote Vedas. So he realized that he still not so satisfied, because it was not very clear what is the aim of the Vedas. Vedas deal with so many things, and the main purpose of the Vedas might be a little bit not hidden, but put among the other things. So it's not very clear what is the ultimate purpose of these Vedas. That's why his spiritual master Narada Muni advised him to make another work, which is Vedanta Sutra, and then also Srimad Bhagavatam, where the aim is very clear, that it is attainment of spiritual life, of devotional service. But those who are involved in these Vedic sacrifices, they cannot very much navigate if they are not intelligent enough and don't have proper guidance. So they can be lost in all this, as it is mentioned here, flowery words of the Vedas. So they are very much distracting. In the karma-kāṇḍa section of the Vedas, it is said, apama somam amrita babhuma, and akshayam havai chaturmasya yajina sukritam bhavati. In other words, those who perform the 4-month penances become eligible to drink the somarasa beverages to become immortal and happy forever. Even on this earth, some are very eager to have somarasa to become strong and fit to enjoy sense gratifications. Such persons have no faith in liberation from material bondage, and they are very much attached to the pompous ceremonies of Vedic sacrifices. They are generally sensual, and they do not want anything other than the heavenly pleasures of life. It is understood that there are gardens called Nanda-kānana, in which there is good opportunity for association with angelic, beautiful women and having a profuse supply of somarasa wine. Such bodily happiness is certainly sensual. Therefore, there are those who are purely attached to such material temporary happiness as lords of the material world. So here's some description what is available in heavenly planets. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, when he was writing his commentaries to to Srimad Bhagavatam, when some of his disciples were reading it, they were so much attracted by this that Srila Prabhupada decided to reduce these commentaries, this description of heavenly planets, so his disciples would be not distracted at this stage, because some of them might not be so much advanced at that moment, so they could be really distracted. So this is what usually people are attracted to when they read the Vedic descriptions, what is available there. And there is something 17.3. Yes, the verse 43 is saying, being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. So this is only what they know, basically, and this depends on, I will read one quote from 17.3 from purport. Is speaking about the fate. Pure goodness is transcendental. In purified goodness, one can understand the real nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As long as one's fate is not completely in purified goodness, the fate is subject to contamination by any of the modes of material nature. The contaminated modes of the material nature expand to the heart. Therefore, according to the position of the heart in contact with the particular mode of material nature, one's fate is established. It should be understood that if one's heart is in the mode of goodness, his fate is also in the mode of goodness. If his heart is in the mode of passion, his fate is also in the mode of passion. And if his heart is in the mode of darkness, illusion, his fate is also thus contaminated. Thus we find different types of fate in this world, and there are different types of religions due to different types of fate. The real principle of religious fate is situated in the mode of pure goodness. But because the heart is tainted, we find different types of religious principles. Thus, according to different types of faith, there are different kinds of worship. So this is basically how they, as they don't know anything than this is what is defined by in which modes they are. So it means they're definitely not in the mode of pure goodness, because they would see something more than these heavenly pleasures. So it means that they are affected by some of these material modes of nature, and this defines also their faith, and from faith their religious, how they perform various sacrifices and worship and these things. So this is defined then by these modes of nature. And also yes, okay, I will come back to it in the next shloka. So 44. Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya pahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. Bhoga to material enjoyment, Aishvarya and opulence, prasaktanam for those who are attached, taya by such things, apahrita chetasam bewildered in mind, vyavasaya atmika fixed in determination, buddhi devotional service to the Lord, samadho in the controlled mind, na never vidhyate does take place. Translation: in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Purport: Samadhi means fixed mind. The Vedic dictionary, the Nirukti, says, Samyak adhiyate, smin atma tattva yathatmyam. When the mind is fixed for understanding the self, it is said to be in Samadhi. Samadhi is never possible for persons interested in material sense enjoyment and bewildered by such temporary things. They are more or less condemned by the process of material energy. So this is a very important verse, and is also included in the Bhakti Shastri study as for memorization. And important is because it shows us very clearly that if we want to progress spiritually, then we have to be careful about sense enjoyment and material opulence, because this is the opposite side and is distracting from progress in spiritual life. I have some more excerpt from Beyond Birth and Death, is book by Srila Prabhupada compilation. So the body must be considered a diseased condition. A diseased man cannot enjoy himself properly. A man with jaundice, for instance, will taste sugar candy as bitter, but a healthy man can taste its sweetness. In either case, the sugar candy is the same, but according to our condition, it tastes different. Unless we are cured of this diseased conception of bodily life, we cannot taste the sweetness of spiritual life. If we really want freedom from the miseries of material existence, we must minimize our bodily demands and pleasures. So here Prabhupada says that because we are in this disease condition and this bodily conception of life, that's why it's difficult to taste the spiritual sweetness, because it's much more subtle, and these gross perceptions from sense enjoyment are covering these subtle experiences, so we cannot experience them because of that. So it is important to minimize the bodily distraction from the senses. Senses should not be overexposed to sense gratification. That's also why devotees are following the 4 regulative principles, because if not following these activities, these sinful activities are so gross that they are very much distracting, or these are the most distracting sinful activities from the spiritual life, from spiritual path, because the sense enjoyment is so strong there. Same thing with the Vedas, as we spoke, because there is also in the heavenly planets, the sense enjoyment is very much advanced, very strong. So that's why there is also a lot of distraction, and even demigods themselves realized it. So many of them are basically waiting in line for incarnation back in the Earth planet, because here the enjoyment is kind of mixed also with some distress or misery, so it's not so strong and not so much distracting. So here we have much better environment for spiritual progress than in the heavenly planets. Okay. I just mentioned something to the previous part. We were speaking about Sankhya Yoga and how is it connected to buddhi-yoga, because Prabhupada was saying there in the verse 39 that the aim of buddhi-yoga and Sankhya Yoga are basically the same. Therefore, Lord Krishna Sankhya and Lord Kapila Sankhya, as described in the Bhagavatam, are one and the same. So he is mentioning this. And in the verse 5.4 is explained why. So the aim of the analytical study of the material world is to find the soul of existence. The soul of material world is Vishnu, or the super soul. Devotional service to the Lord entails service to the super soul. One process is to find the root of the tree, and the other is to water the root. The real student of Sankhya philosophy finds the root of the material world, Vishnu, and then in perfect knowledge engages himself in the service of the Lord. Therefore, in essence, there is no difference between the two, because the aim of both is Vishnu. Those who do not know the ultimate end say that the purposes of Sankhya and Karma Yoga are not the same. But one who is learned knows the unifying aim in these different processes. Srila Prabhupada here uses the word Karma Yoga, but this is synonym in his presentation to the word Buddhi Yoga. So Sankhya Yoga and buddhi-yoga, basically, these are synonyms. I mean, Karma Yoga and Buddhi-yoga are synonyms, and he's mentioning Sankhya Yoga and Buddhi-yoga in the previous verse in 239. So here it explains that it's same because by Sankhya Yoga we find Vishnu as the root of our process, where we focus our service, and Buddhi-yoga basically is service itself. So in this way, the purpose of both of them is the same, to ultimately to water the root of this tree which you find. So that's why it's non-different in the effect, but maybe like different point of view, different angle of view, how we see the things, but the purpose is the same. So that's why this identity was mentioned. Okay, so that's I mentioned something else. Yes. As I mentioned, this loss of determination for devotional service does not take place because we are so much distracted, and it's also taking our capacity if we are not fixed in one thing. Usually it starts by small things, but then this Vedic tree, or no, tree of material world, is very much multi-branched. So we go to one branch and then end up somewhere completely elsewhere. So this is the destruction of sense enjoyment, and which is described in the Vedas, and all this material opulence that it can bring us somewhere else that when we originally wanted to grow. And then this determination for devotional service is very weak. So we have to be careful not to fall in these distractions. Also yesterday we had Lord Balaram's appearance day. So Lord Balaram, part that he's representative of the spiritual master, he's also someone who we can pray to have enough spiritual strength to not be distracted by these things. So he can give us this determination if we pray to him, if we are sincerely trying to progress in devotional service. Okay, that's it for today. Are there any questions, comments, realizations? Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad-gīta ki jai. Samaveta Bhaktivedanta ki jai.